instances that we make use of evidence. Okay, and that's our ex-president in Malawi, right? Our Malawians. What? Zambia. That's not Malawi. Okay. Okay, so in plain language, this is what we mean by evidence use cases. They are the different ways in which people or institutions apply evidence in their work decisions, like I mentioned. I think we will share this after, but I will take us through some specifics when we talk of use cases. Yeah. Next. So first of that, we have conceptual use. When we talk of conceptual use, so there are 5 main distinctions we do. We did this together looking at what the FCDO also conceptualizes alongside. So we would be working with these 5. Conceptual use mainly looks at how evidence informs our understanding, even if it doesn't result in direct action. How does evidence, reflect our understanding or help us refine our understanding of whatever decisions we are to make? The next one is behavioral use. Evidence sometimes, apart from the concepts, our understanding, evidence helps us revise our behaviors. What are the changes that evidence is helping us to make in the decisions that we're making, including the habits and then the practices, the routine things that we do. So this is another way in which evidence is used. The third one we're looking at procedural use or process use. How does evidence help us improve on the processes and the systems that we put in place for decision making? All right. This looks at when evidence shapes the design or flow of decision making process. So the process itself. How does evidence reflect on these? Yes. The fourth one is the content. Now, evidence, apart from the concepts and the behavior and then the process, evidence helps us also to evidence is also made use of from a content perspective. So in that sense, we have 2 main use cases: the symbolic use and then the instrumental use of evidence. And the differentiation is in there. By symbolic use, it's actually one of the lowest use cases possible. We are looking at you having taken a decision, all right, and looking for evidence that supports your position. So evidence is not informing your use, but you are using evidence to justify an already preconceived idea. So that is a symbolic use. It's also a use case, but it's one of the least ones. What we may want to aim for is an instrumental use, which is where evidence gets used to make things happen. So you want to do something, and then you look out for evidence to inform whatever decisions you are. So evidence become an instrument, all right? That's the instrumental use in there. And then the final use case we look at is the systemic one. Yes, last one. The institutionalized use. This is where evidence gets systematized, right, within the work environment. So it becomes institutionalized, that there are incentives in place to support evidence use. People are rewarded for using evidence. People are penalized, in quotes, for not using evidence. So there's a drive for which reason you should use evidence. So this is when evidence use culture, it's a cultural thing, gets embedded within the systems, the norms, and the rules of work. So these are the 5 different use cases that we'll be looking at all together. All right. So quickly, let's look at what the manifesto tells us, and then we will start with the conversation. Yes, the manifesto next. So this manifesto, I think many of you who might have interacted with this was produced by the AEN in 2020 as being a collective work. One of these evidence events, right, in 2020 was when we had to do it, we had to develop it. And then afterwards, it's been worked on towards a revised version. So what we have now is the version 2, all right, which was produced last year. And the revision came about through different engagements with the community. The document itself was produced with the community, I mean with the AEN evidence community, and then the revision as well. And it's meant to be a living document, which is why we've had to revise it. And then we'll be working towards revisions even going forward. Yeah, so what's the purpose of the manifesto? 3 main things. One is for it to represent what? An Africa-led approach to capacity development. Africa-led in terms of design, the content, and then the process. How capacity development for EIDM should happen, right? It's also to strengthen coordination amongst us as actors. And the third one is to inspire and challenge current practices. So however we are using evidence, we need to be challenged to aim for something greater. Okay, next. So it also looks at some key definitions, and key amongst that is the concept of capacity. What do we mean by capacity, and then what do we mean by capacity development? All right, it's all within the document. So it prefers to use the conceptual differences. It prefers to use concepts like capacity development or capacity enhancement or capacity sharing, instead of capacity building, because building connotes that what there is a deficit that you are going to fill in. But from our experience, we know that capacity is best shared, because you are going to help the participants or the learners learn something new, but you are equally learning something new in that process. So it's an